Mike and Trey, and I very delightfully now have this Miami helmet that I'm going to keep on the set here for the rest of the week.
Why are you so Miami now? Why don't you want to see Dan massage Stugatz?
That's true. Here's the beauty of this bet.
You know you're the winner in this.
Correct. I was just going to say, Trey, take a note from this.
Yeah.
I can't lose. We win either way, and so this is my advice to you going forward. Somehow this thing, the worm turned on this thing. It used to be me that would lose all the time, and I would have to do ridiculous things.
I saw you in the leprechaun outfit, milk the cow, all that stuff.
Everything. The joke was always on me. Somehow, it was actually the Notre Dame-Northwestern game. That just changed.
That changed it.
Everything.
Yeah.
You were due.
And so now
you were due.
I just sit back, and I somehow manage to manipulate this thing into where either Golic or Lebitard is going to have to massage Stu, and everyone else is a winner.
Well, look, if you end up having to do that, I would recommend taking the Miami helmet to block your vision, and it gives you a receptacle to
throw up into?
To hold on. By the way, that was another thing I saw this morning when you said I'm going to throw up in my mouth. Well, where else do you throw up? People always say, I'm going to throw up. Do you throw up out of your armpit?
Are you always this literal?
Well, where else do you throw up? I've always loved it. I'm going to throw up in my mouth, as opposed to what? Out of your eye? It's the only place you can throw up.
In the meantime,
these are the things that concern me.
That's it, huh?
Tom tweets at us, I think Notre Dame alums should throw tomatoes at Golic if Notre Dame loses.
Oh, shut up, Tom.
You have become a little bit of a jinx.
Wow.
Remember, what was the game that you and Chris didn't want to go to because you were afraid? Was it basketball? Was the NCAA tournament nearby?
Oh, I think it was. It might have been the Notre Dame women against UConn.
That's always worked out well for you.
Oh yeah, how many times Rebecca Lobo has beaten me in a bet?
I think it was the men. I think the men played last year somewhere close enough.
I've been gun shy. I have shied away, and now I've just jumped in with both feet.
No, both hands on a butt.
Oh God.
10 seconds.
SportsCenter brought to you by 1-800-Flowers. If you spend too much time binge-watching football, time to make up with 1-800-Flowers.com. For a limited time, 1-800-Flowers offering up to 40% off best-selling bouquets and gifts. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter the code Mike.
All right, Trey Wingo is here again. Don't forget, 2 weeks away, Golic and Wingo every morning in all the places that you're watching or listening to us.
Is every morning?
Yeah, you got to do this every day.
Every day.
They didn't tell me that.
Yeah, we tried to leave.
It's every day.
Again, we've suckered you into this thing.
I'm like you with the Stugatz butt.
The way Dan suckered me into this bet.
I will tell you one thing in all sincerity. We'll leave it there. You've been my friend for 20 years. It's the best seat you'll ever sit in.
Yeah.
I promise you. Okay. Let me ask you then this. Let me somehow segue from that to Jameis Winston.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
From shoulder to butt.
Because I've seen a lot of there are two different ways that he's being criticized right now. Yeah. One of them is he still throws a lot of interceptions, and that was one of his problems in college.
Yes.
And that's sort of a normal thing. And now I'm seeing a lot of he's on the field, and he sort of provoked a thing with Lattimore this week that leads to Mike Evans getting suspended.
Correct.
What are your thoughts right now on where Jameis Winston is in his progression towards becoming what we all think he has the potential to be?
Well, that was interesting because in Hard Knocks, right, I can't remember who the game was against. It was in preseason, and he threw that ridiculous pass, falling to his knees. They got picked off in the end zone, and Dirk Cutter ran up to him on the sidelines afterwards and said, "Look, man, if you do that in real football, you're gonna kill us. You can't be doing that." So I think that's the concern. The other thing is, I thought you were going to talk about his eating a W.
That stuff too. I mean,
it was interesting to listen to some former players. Scott Fujita was great on this. That's not going to inspire me. So
no.
I think that one sort of feeds off the other. This sort of idea that he has to go through these pronounced sort of ridiculously false rah-rah speeches as opposed to just being honest may be as much of an issue as everything else. And I'm not saying he's not being dishonest. I'm just saying if you really think putting your fingers in a W and eating them is going to inspire your team, I'm not sure you're getting what helps inspire your team.
Yeah, and the team is buying in. You hear Gerald McCoy saying this team goes as Jameis goes. Yeah. He is the undisputed leader of this team. He's got to play better on the field. He had the interceptions in college that you'd hope he'd learn from and not have as many. Deshaun Watson had 17 his senior year,
Correct.
14 his junior year, 31 in his last 2 years, and we're touting him. He was going to be the rookie of the year. So you can learn from those, and you're waiting for Jameis to take that next step on the football field, and then you get a little setback, we think, in the maturity factor of this whole thing of, we were saying, what other franchise quarterback is doing the double finger push to the back of a defender when you're already out of the game?
When he's out of the game. That's the thing that doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's the part of it going forward. Look, the interceptions, you hope that you can sort of curb those things going forward. But that kind of stuff, it's like, how does that help the team?
Yeah.
How does that make this place better?
As the leader of the team.
Correct.
Yeah, emotional maturity, which I think was a question coming out of college, remains in some cases a question. That stuff leads one to wonder if that's part of the issue there or not. Look, I mean, I couldn't look worse on this. I picked him before the season to be the MVP of the league, and I picked the Buccaneers to win the division. I thought he was the guy who was going to step forward.
I was with you. I had a bet with Matthew Berry about who would have a better fantasy year, Kirk Cousins or Jameis Winston. And then just like you, I thought with all the weapons around him this year, he finally has Deshaun Jackson, the home run threat. They didn't have one. They were the only team last year that didn't have a 50-yard completion, and Deshaun Jackson is a walking 50-yard completion. I'm not sure if they have one now. That sort of chemistry between those two has just not materialized at all.
As far as some of the other things going on in the NFL, we had 5 players ejected this past Sunday. Not one of them was suspended. One guy who wasn't ejected, Mike Evans, was suspended for one game. Any issue on either side of that?
Well, I don't see how Mike Evans wasn't ejected from that game. I mean, he came out of nowhere and flew into the back of a guy whose back was turned. And give Mike Evans all the credit in the world. He said afterwards, look, that was a stupid thing. I shouldn't have done it. I take full responsibility, and I apologize for it. But that was the clearly most ejectable thing of anything. Even A.J. Green's takedown, because they were sort of going at each other all day.
Right.
But, I mean, this was a blindside hit from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you get why he did it, because he wanted to have his quarterbacks back. But that was the most ejectable offense I saw of anybody. And how A.J. Green's not getting
suspended. No. He threw punches, got kicked immediately out of the game.
So the catch rule is now playing it into the suspension. Then we don't know what a catch is, and we don't know what a suspendable offense is.
Maybe it was because he got thrown out of the game. They felt that was kind of, you're missing that game for Evans. I agree. Could the rest just not have seen that because it doesn't go to review as far as the fight is concerned?
Earlier this morning, earlier this season, we discovered, I'm not sure what a fumble is either. We found that out in one of the Jet games this season. So but don't get me started again on that.
Please don't.
The Dallas Cowboys, which is the team that you follow as closely as any, how would you assess their chances of making a run at the Eagles?
Well, a lot of that depends on what happens Thursday with Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay, explain this. I heard someone say this is it, right? This is finally it as far as this season is concerned.
Well, I think that's correct, but there have been so many twists and turns with this thing. I would love to believe that that's actually the case. I think it may be the case, but if this looks like this is the one that will decide whether or not he's going to be available for the rest of the season. And if he is, I think this team is really good right now. The biggest difference on the Cowboys that I see is that front seven. When you have Irving and DeMarcus Lawrence now, 2 legitimate pass rushers, Sean Lee is an eraser of mistakes in the running game. The difference he makes in the running game. I mean, they were the first team to pick off Alex Smith all year. He had not had an interception all season before they got one Sunday. The defense is what's going to make the difference for this team this year as opposed to last year. But all of this is predicated on Ezekiel Elliott being on the field. Look, they'll have a functioning running game without Ezekiel Elliott, but I don't think they'll have an explosive running game. And there are plays on Sunday where he turned a 2 or 3 yard loss into a 4 or 5 yard game.
So if he's there for the season, do they catch the Eagles?
Well, the best news is they got 2 games left with him.
Right.
And that'll be, look, all the Eagles have to do is split. The Eagles, if they're thinking, all we have to do is split with the Cowboys and we're good. The Cowboys have to think we have to sweep and we have to go on a run like we did last year where we won, 8, 9 games in a row? Or 10 in a row, I think they won last year.
The Cowboys. Yeah. The Eagles are playing so well right now, though. I like this story. They were facing the #1 scoring defense in the NFL this past weekend.
Put up 50 burger.
And they scored so many points they ran out of fireworks.
That's amazing.
Did you see that? The stadium actually ran out of fireworks, which does then lead you to Denver.
Yeah. Where
it was shown, look, Brock Osweiler didn't look any better. Trevor Siemian was obviously not the only problem that they were having there. What of the Broncos?
Look, eventually, no matter how good you are on defense, if your offense isn't functioning, it's going to catch up to you. And I think that was a big part of it Sunday. I think this defensive unit has a lot of pride, and I think you'll see a much better effort for them Sunday night when they play the Patriots. Coming off a bye week, that's going to be brutal. But at the end of the day, we talk about this all the time. If you can't block, you can't do anything. And if you go back and look, there was somebody put it out there on Twitter. There was just a shot of the first play from scrimmage for Brock Osweiler. He goes back and it's a play action play, and the running back's on the wrong side, so either he didn't know what the play was or the running back didn't know what the play was, and before he can turn around, the left guard is in his face mask. He has just been pushed all the way back. The problem with the Broncos starts up front with the offensive line. They thought they'd address it and fix it this year with Medical Watson, Ron Leary, and getting Garrett Bowles. Bowles is going to be okay, but they can't block. If they can't block, they can't run, which means the play action isn't there, and the quarterback's going to have to do things that these quarterbacks can't do.
All right, Trey is going to be back with us again on Thursday for this one-chip challenge. You're going to do this?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, I don't know.
How hot could the chip actually be?
Right? Yeah, I went to school in Texas. I know spicy foods.
The Carolina Reaper Pepper Challenge, the one-chip challenge you've seen all over the place. We're going to do it